Hi, hello to the few friends who are going to be watching this video. Um, as you can see, it's another Warframe video, and this time around I'm going to show off something that is hopefully cooler than Railjack. It'll certainly be a bit more cinematic. I'm going to show off the Profit-Taker boss fight. And like many things, I'm going to be doing this solo. So I'm just going to skip through all this dialogue because without having done the entire thing, the context is kind of pointless. And for this fight, I'm going to be using a Rubico Prime, Rattleguts Kick Gun, and the Redeemer Prime, and my Warframe of choice is Chroma Prime. Chroma, I love and hate because he can be so powerful, but the problem is he has exactly two abilities. So the first thing I'm going to do is stock up on energy real quick. And then I take to the skies and wait until the mission begins proper. Oh, this is actually a good spawn point. The Profit-Taker for this fight can spawn one of three locations. Those mushroom forests over there, that little delta, if it can even really be called a delta, or that ridge. This one has the most flat ground and is generally just the best in my opinion, because I'm not at risk of falling into coolant fluid and having to reset my buffs. So Chroma is useful because his two abilities are Elemental Ward and Vex Armor. Elemental Ward gives him a buff based on what element he is currently using. In this case, I'm using fire, or heat, rather, so I get increased maximum health, and on casting it, I also heal an amount. And I also deal a small amount of heat damage to enemies around me. Vex Armor gives me buffs when I take damage. If I take damage to my shields, I gain bonus armor. And when I take damage to my health, I gain bonus damage. Now, the boss fight that, or at least the mechanics of this boss fight, is that starting off, the Profit-Taker is protected by sentient adaptive armor. It is only vulnerable, or rather its shields are only vulnerable to a specific damage type, which is indicated by the image over its head. And every so often it will switch the damage resistances it has, so you need to have a wide variety of damage types to deal with it. Once its shields are depleted, you have to switch over to using an arc gun to take out its legs and then blast its center of mass. And then every odd sum phase, it will throw out these pylons that prevent it from taking damage. All they need to do is be destroyed, and you can continue with the fight. Which, while going over my weapons, I forgot to mention my arc gun of choice is the Corvus, which is a charge shot based, basically a super heavy shotgun. Just gonna throw down a energy pad there just so that I don't lose my Vex armor buffs. Let's see, I think yep, I have heat on my kit gun. With the various effects that Chroma has on him, between his Vex armor, Elemental Ward, and... Why the hell am I slowed? And also various arcanes, I am basically unkillable. Because I have a ridiculously high amount of armor, and my health regenerates periodically whenever I take damage thanks to Arcane Grace. And if I need a clutch heal, I can just use Elemental Ward. You may also notice that every so often, if I find a damage type that I can't actually hit for the shields, I switch over to operator mode, which I will showcase a little more properly after I've beaten the boss here. But basically, void damage from operator mode is capable of actually altering the sentient shield resist that the Profit-Taker has. And since you can't actually cover every single damage type, that is pretty worth having. Also, while I mentioned earlier that Chroma technically only has 2 real abilities, there is one that will come into play at the very end of this fight, which is his effigy, where he sheds his pelt and creates an effigy of himself that shoots nearby enemies, but most importantly, the effigy also doubles the value of credits dropped in its area of effect. Just gonna sit here a moment to get some more energy. Crap. And the energy pad was kind of useless. The final phase of this fight has a 5-minute time limit before you get just an immediate game over. But with the right mods and setup, the 4 minutes is not even remotely an issue. Not Toxin. There we go. That's a damage type I can deal. And here is where effigy comes in. I don't think it was within range. Crap. And now the Profit-Taker is going to self-destruct, which I don't know how far I have to be away from it to prevent dying, but I know I can just go over here and step into the elevator to Fortuna. But, as I mentioned earlier, I would be showing off the operator mode a little bit. This does count as spoilers, so I know none of you really will be too inclined to care about spoilers, but basically, Warframes are machine bodies piloted by... I don't even know really how to describe it, but kids with abilities augmented by the void. And that was pretty quick. How long is it? 10 minutes. Took me 10 minutes to kill the Profit-Taker. Well, that was Profit-Taker, one of the boss fights, one of the many boss fights in Warframe. I hope it was at least cool, and I hope you all have a great day.